lady who actually is a veteran out of the military. I did not get her name. I'm not sure if they said it in the clip that I am going to show you guys, courtesy of the Shade Room, that actually did do an interview with this young lady who was basically manhandled by 2 male police officers over an eviction notice. I also saw a clip earlier today where police officers tried to walk into this lady, she was a Black woman, of course, into her home to search her home without any warrant, without any document paperwork stating why they were coming to her home to search, put his foot in the door, would not allow her to close her door, wouldn't go by the rules, and they brought in like a fake warrant, which she copied, and she had to allow the police officer to come in, which the warrant did not state that they had permission to come into her premises. So I want to show you guys this clip really quick before we get started on everybody's opinions on what's kind of been going on here. Oh shit, I forgot the verses on. Hold on, let me go to my videos. Okay, so I might have to hold it for you guys. And like I said, courtesy of the Shade Room. Hold on.
Shout out to the Shade Room.
Yeah, shout out to the Shade Room. Hold on. Let me see if I can actually clamp it on because it'll be easier. I won't have to freaking hold it and all that other stuff. So you guys can see this was really crazy. And just to any female that might be experiencing any type of police harassment or anything like that, just so you know, for your own well-being, they're supposed to have a female police officer present with certain things, especially if they're searching or if they have to frisk you or anything of that nature. So make sure you're just educating yourself and know your rights as well. But I'm going to go ahead and flip this back. We're going to get started. Come on.
Her 4-year-old daughter.
It was excessive force.
Fulton County marshals barged into her boyfriend's apartment while she was undressed and alone. But when she went to put some clothes on, she became insensitive. Officials allegedly slammed her to the ground and arrested her on the spot. I'm Justin Carter. This is TSR Investigates.
Sorry about the filter. He does not have eyelashes like that.
I was gonna say he looked done up, and I didn't see that before.
Baskerville was living in New Jersey at the time, but was frequently traveling to the Sandy Springs area right outside of Atlanta to go visit her boyfriend. She says that December 14, 2021, it was a Tuesday. It started off as a normal day. She says her boyfriend went to work that morning. Around 11:30 that morning, she says that she went to go take a bath. And moments later, she hears a knock on the door. She then puts on a...
Oh, sorry, y'all.
She says she answers the door. It was several men from the Fulton County Marshal's Office. She says that they were there to serve an eviction for her boyfriend's apartment. Little did she know, she says, things would get physical fast. It was all caught on body camera video. Baskerville says that the marshals demanded she vacate her boyfriend's apartment immediately. She was noticeably upset in this footage. She says that she had no idea what was happening, so she called her boyfriend.
I called him. I'm like, you need to get here right now. They're trying to kick us out.
You can see she had a robe on. She then rummages through some clothes, walks to a nearby bedroom, and shuts the door. Don't close the door. Ma'am?
I didn't put any clothes on and I'm naked.
Obviously, you're not naked.
I am naked. You want to see?
Go to the bathroom, get dressed.
Who the fuck? Get up. Get up. Get up. He's like, you can't close the door. I'm like, but we're naked. I'm like, but I'm naked. I have to get dressed. He's like, I guess he yelled. He's like, well, go in the bathroom then. And then I'm like, what? I'm like the bathroom is right here. He grabbed me, body slammed me.
She says all of this was happening while her 4-year-old daughter, Autumn, was nearby.
Oh my God!
Now she's exposed.
That hurts! It's breaking my arm!
She became insensitive. She became insensitive.
What do we do? I don't have no clothes.
We're going to jail.
That hurts. Let me close my close it. It's another grown man, officer there as well, and he's helping him.
You can hear the
You
little
see,
girl
they have
crying.
their knee on my back. They're exposing my body.
She says once they got her in handcuffs, the officer went into the bedroom, picked up her boyfriend's jeans, and tried to put them on her.
Like, it's not like I had on underclothes. It's not like I had on a bra, I had on panties. I'm telling you, I had on nothing. Fresh out the tub. And that's how he took me to jail. He took me to jail in a pair of pants with no underclothes on.
Her boyfriend would later arrive and picked up her daughter before she was taken to jail.
She still brings it up, like, every time we're, like, outside or in a car or something and she see police officers, she be like, Mommy, the police, they beat you up.
Baskerville went to jail on a number of charges, including obstruction of law enforcement and simple battery.
I'm a small girl. It was nothing I could do to them two grown men that was in the apartment. It was nothing I could do to them. I just didn't understand, like, why did it go so far? Because I wanted to put clothes on.
Over the years, police body camera video has shed new light on a growing problem. Black women arrested or detained in a violent manner, often for crimes they don't commit and without female officers on hand. In February 2019, Anjanette Young, a 51-year-old medical social worker, was forced to stand naked in front of a dozen police officers who raided her home during a no-knock search warrant. You need to tell me what you're looking for. What are you looking for? The wrong place. You got the wrong house. You got the wrong house. All of them were men, mostly white. Turns out Chicago police were at the wrong house, and the man that they were looking to arrest had not lived in that apartment for at least 4 years. Young got a $2.9 million settlement from the city of Chicago, and she told CBS News that she's been on medication for depression and PTSD ever since and had to leave her job.
Just remember, being so afraid. It's one of those moments where I just felt like that I could have died that night.
I think the attack on Black women has just become so vulgar and in your face, and it's almost too commonplace.
We took the Baskerville case to attorney Tammy Allison. She's a former federal prosecutor who now runs her own law firm.
In this situation, seeing a woman in a robe with a 4-year-old with her, there's absolutely no justification, in my opinion, for her to have been tackled down to the ground.
Court documents show that Baskerville's boyfriend, Al Ishmael McGill, owed just over $1,600 in rent before marshals showed up to serve that eviction notice.
Typically, they would just hand her the documents on his behalf and go on about their way. We don't know what led up to the point of the body cam footage that we've seen. Maybe there was more, maybe there wasn't, but again, I've never really seen a service that escalates like this, as opposed to executing the writ of possession where they're evicting someone. Typically, you'd see the marshals and the landlord and people moving the things out, but that's not what was happening here. They were serving her to let her know that her boyfriend was going to be evicted in some future time.
There's always people out there that say, hey, listen, if Jemana would have, complied and would have, been quiet and would have did what she was supposed to do, maybe she wouldn't have been in this circumstance. What is your response to that? I always like to ask that.
I feel like I did do what they asked me to do because he told me to go get dressed. He didn't tell me where to get dressed at. My first instinct was to go in the bedroom and get dressed. I wasn't going to just take my robe off and just get dressed in front of them.
Baskerville says that in her case, there were no female marshals present, and she felt violated in a room full of male officers. She says that she is, though, thankful to be alive and thankful that a Fulton County judge and prosecutors opted to throw the case away on June 7th, 2022.
People need to look at it like if it was their sister or their daughter, their mother, their aunt, their grandmother, because if it can happen to me, it can happen to them too.
We spoke to the Fulton County Marshal's Office by phone. A spokesperson says that they were there to serve this eviction after months of written warnings, and that typically in normal cases, they do give people enough time to grab their immediate belongings like their cell phone, their ID, their car keys, their medications. They also say that male marshals are allowed to detain females. They have special training for it. They're just not allowed to search them. They also say it's best practice to never shut the door behind an officer once they're inside your home for safety reasons. reasons for both parties. But in the meantime, Baskerville says that she plans to both sue Fulton County and the officers involved. She has since moved her family to Charlotte, North Carolina to start a new life. For TSR Investigates,
Good for her.
I'm Justin Carter.
Courtesy of the Shade Room. Nice. All right, you guys. So I have so many questions on this just because, okay, like the whole thing where he said, you know, people have been saying, you know, oh, if you comply, she shouldn't have, you know, told them no. She shouldn't have walked into the room and closed the door. You know, she made it worse. And the fact that this seems to happen with a lot of Black women, the fact that they allow them to just be exposed without even putting clothes on them like they're criminals. You know what I mean? What do you guys think as far as, do you think like when something like this happens that there should really be a legal type of punishment that happens to these officers that do something, and then especially if they do something that wasn't even accurate, like the older lady when they went to her house and then found out it wasn't even, the guy hadn't been living there for like 7 years. Shouldn't there be some type of something that happens aside from them just going on about their business like, oops, oh sorry, we fucked up, we went to the wrong apartment, my bad, now you can put your clothes on? Like, what do you guys think about these things that have been happening lately with a lot of Black women? And some Black women, when they're becoming detained by police officers, some of them don't come back home. What's the young lady that passed away? Oh my God.
Sandra Bland.
Yes, Sandra Bland.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen videos, like I'm on social media a lot for our show to find topics. I've seen videos where they detain young Black women, and the police officers, once they get them in that room, they're beating them up, they're hitting them, you know, they're throwing them around. I even seen one where this young lady was in the jail and I don't know if she got sick or somebody, it was something like some young lady that was in the jail had put something in the girl's food. It made her sick. She kept telling the authorities that she was sick. She wasn't feeling well. You saw that, Ken? She was throwing up. She was coming out of her clothes. They weren't even trying to help her. And I can't remember if she passed away or not.
She died. Yes.
She did die. So
yeah.
They neglected her. She kept saying that she wasn't feeling good. She needed to go to the hospital. She needed a medic. They completely ignored her. And it just seems that it's becoming more common with African-American women. So I just would like to know you guys' opinion on this. And what do you think? Do you think that she did comply with the officers? Do you think that there should be some type of repercussions when officers make these type of mistakes?
Yes. A lot of things should happen. They should be compensated for their distress, like the other woman in the video who had the $1 million settlement.
Right.
But that doesn't erase, like money doesn't necessarily erase
right.
the long-lasting effects that it has on the mental, right?
Right.
So what they're placing is a pricing on her mental, which is, okay, we'll give you $2.1 million to shut up. Right.
Right.
So that's what they did to the lady.
With the older lady. So when they gave her that money, you think that's hush money?
I mean, it's not hush money, but she deserved that money. Right.
Right.
But here she is. I mean, she's going to speak out about it. Hush money means that she can't necessarily speak out about it at all, which is she's still doing subsequent interviews after, right?
Right, right.
In this particular case, here you are trying to reprimand someone for eviction for not paying, right? I'm assuming that's what it's for.
Up to $1,600. Yeah, they say he owed up to his balance was $1,600.
Right. And then the way that you do it, now they're gonna end up owning the building.
Oh.
You know what I mean? I think it's incredibly wrong for law enforcement to invade homes without a female police officer to be able close her door without supervision.
Right, exactly.
But when you have these men who are in your home, of course I'm going to close my door. because y'all showed up unprepared.
Right, exactly.
You know
I
what
agree
I
with that.
mean? And then on top of that, the force that they used, it part of me feels like there's a sense of fetishization, right?
Yeah,
Of
right.
Black women, right? So Black
Mm.
women tend to have two marks against them in this world. They're Black and they're women, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's already tough that you're Black, but then you're a woman on top of that in a man's world a lot of the
Right.
time. Now,
Right.
Black men tend to get police brutality all the time, and it happens
Right.
all the time. But when women get it, there's a sense of disregard and inconsideration across the board.
Right.
Like in this particular case, I feel like they threw her down. They didn't necessarily care that she had no clothes on, because sometimes they revel in being able to see a Black woman naked,
Right.
right?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I never even thought about it like that.
I mean, they didn't care. They had body cams on, and they didn't care.
Right. Like, that's what I was saying. I'm like, yo, they don't know they got the. And then the guy was like, when she was like, "You're hurting my arm," he was like, "Good. Maybe you'll listen next time." Like, nigga, you don't know you being recorded?
He knows, he feels that he's in the right, and he did not care, right? What they should have done, knowing that it wasn't necessarily, it's probably her name wasn't even on the lease to that apartment.
It didn't sound like it. They kept mentioning her boyfriend.
It was her boyfriend's apartment. So what you do is you give them a notice, and then you show back up.
Right.
You
Right.
show back up, and you don't do anything of trying to detain them or arrest them or anything, especially when the person who is the offender is not there to be able to arrange for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's present for that.
Right. No, I agree.
It blows my mind. And she should be getting paid.
Heck yeah.
Like crazy.
Of course. I thought that they overstepped their boundaries completely. Like, did you see how she was trying to talk to him, and he just, get over there. He just immediately the world. Like, it wasn't even that serious. First of all, I'm not even the person you looking for.
Right. And then he started speaking like incredibly aggressive to a point
right.
where it's like, wait, hold up, who are you talking to?
Right.
You know
That's what
like she said, right? Like,
right.
because it took it, she got taken aback.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, here I am. You told me to get dressed. I'm in the room trying to get dressed. You barge in. I'm not going to get dressed in front of
strangers,
you for you guys
right?
to be able to just see. You know what I mean? Like, it went too far too fast, and it was that's not proper protocol in taking care of that situation. They treated that situation like it was a drug raid,
right? Or like she was had a warrant or something. Like she been on a run. Like, what the fuck? And
right.
then the little girl was there crying and everything. They didn't even care that they were doing that in front of a child.
Because they've been in situations where they've done drug raids, where children have been in the homes and stuff like that, and they don't put it in. You know what I mean? But in this particular case, it was not that. You don't invade someone's home with the same energy always, when the circumstances are different. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to assess what the circumstances are for each different issue. And this was not an issue to a point where you felt like you needed to throw her down.
Right.
It was not that. You know what I mean? Like, it never should have got to that point so quickly. I have seen many, many times where there have been situations where people get smart with the police. And they do nothing.
Right.
Nothing. Right.
Yes, you are very right about that.
They're white or you know what I mean? Like, assess the situation. You know, like, she was never in a space where she should have been thrown down. You were never at a point where you felt like, I need to detain her because I'm in danger.
Or I feel threatened, or she's making me feel unsafe. Right. I definitely agree with you on that.
The only time that you do that you might have felt that way is when she closed the door because you don't necessarily know what's going on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
But never at any time did anything throughout that situation leading up to that would have made me think, oh, she about to get a gun. You know what I mean?
Right. Or right.
Yeah, no. I mean, you're invading a home because of an eviction notice.
Right.
Not because of anything else. So
right.
I'm sorry I said too much already, but
no, it's all right. You're good. But what about you, Michael? What's your opinion? And anybody in the chat, please chime in. Do you think that she complied with the police as she, do diligently as she should have? And do you guys think that there should be some type of repercussions that happens when police officers or marshals or sheriffs or whatever the fuck make mistakes? Just because they got a badge and they're part of the law doesn't mean that things should just get swept under the rug from them. For them, they're also human beings. They make mistakes. So if you make a mistake, just like anybody else, there should be some type of consequence behind that. What is your opinion on this, Michael?
So, just did like a little YouTube search real fast, something real quick. I put in black men arrested naked.
Right.
And a shit ton of videos came up. Police kept black men naked in the yard while looking for teens. A 71-year-old black man in South Carolina is suing police for being arrested naked. Let's see. Mikael McDowell, a former Southfield High School Michigan State star, currently with the Cleveland Browns, was arrested naked. Body cam shows naked man fatally shot by Richmond, Virginia police officer.
Oh yeah, they get it popping out here.
I mean,
don't know.
This shit goes on and on and on about like, black men getting arrested naked, getting shot and killed naked. Almost looks like, it's back in the good old slavery days and shit. Like, my point of me saying that is that I feel like a lot of people try to create some type of divide as like, the good old gender war about like, who has it worse, black men or black women? It's kind of like, nigga, we black. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to like certain people who oppress us, they don't give a fuck if you're a man or a woman. As long as you're black, you're going to be treated like shit. I mean, it is disgusting. It is unfortunate. It's fucked up. It angers me. It pisses me off how this woman was treated, being arrested while her entire body has been exposed.
Right.
And she rightly deserves to sue those police officers and like get everything that's coming towards her as far as like, goodness and whatnot. But it's one of those things where it's like the same shit happens to black men just as much, if not more. And it's like, I'm just tired of this gender war as if like one sex gets treated differently when it comes to dealing with police officers. It's kind of like if you're black or if you're of a certain ethnicity, they don't care if you're a man or a woman. They're going to treat you like you're not human.
That is true. That is very, very true. And I do kind of assess with the gender war thing, with especially in our community, but I do think there's certain influences on that. But now, since you mentioned that, do you think that black women are looked as the lesser vessel of non-importance in their own community? Because one thing, a black man can get any race of woman, and the black man is the most desired. Hold on. The black man is the most desired man of all races. You can look that up. Now, black man,
as far as what?
A black man can get any woman that he wants. White women like black men, Asian women like black men, black women like black men, Hispanic women like black men. So what I'm saying
that we get treated as sex dolls, and that's a good thing.
No, I'm not saying sex dolls. If you no.
Well, what do you mean by we're desired though?
You're desired. You're desired. You're more desired than a white man as far as just being with. Either being with, being married to.
I
Even
don't
if
know
you're, it
about
doesn't,
that.
the point is, you're still desired. Whether you're desired for sex, whether you're most women find black men. Hold on, most women find black men super attractive from all races across the board, whereas black women are usually looked at on the lower totem pole. As compared to any other race of women, we come last when it comes to a desiredness. But for a black man, you see black men all day with all different types of chicks. Asian, mixed, white, black. They can pretty much pick from the ones that they want when it comes to any type
Yeah,
of
for
race.
Christina, I can like go on YouTube, I can go on Google, and I can like look up like black women with like multiple different ethnicities of men and try to make the same argument.
No, I'm
It's
not
the
saying
it's,
I'm not saying that it's an issue. What I'm
okay.
saying is that I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if you want to Google it yourself, I don't really gotta explain it too much. You can Google it yourself. Which race of man is the most desired man of them all? And we all know this. I've been around, I know myself. I've been around different types of females. I know how they even discuss or even fantasize about being with a black guy or how different it might be. Whereas I've actually heard different races of women desire to be with a black man than black women sometimes, because black women sometimes feel as though they don't get any type of respect from their own men. You've always heard, you hear black men sometimes saying, oh, I don't want to be with a sister because they talk too much. They're loud. They give me attitude. Most of the time you hear more black men talking down on their own women than any other race of women. Whereas black women might say, oh, I don't like men, or men ain't shit. But every black woman wants a black man.
No, okay, yeah, I gotta call cap on that one. No, I
You
don't.
don't think every black woman desires to have a black man?
Hell no.
So you think
And
every
there's
black
like
woman
plenty
walk
of
around here saying,
videos. There's
I
plenty of
said
videos,
most.
and there's enough statistics out there to prove that is not true. Not every
Most?
black
Okay,
woman
let's
desires
look
a
up the
black man.
statistics. Let's look it up.
Please look that up. And as far as like
And you see it on,
us
hold on. And
different
you see it on
ethnicities,
podcasts all the time. These black women on these podcasts say that they naturally desire to have a black man. But for some black women that are in a different bracket, the men are not in the same bracket with those black women. But naturally, any woman from her own culture desires to be naturally with the man from her own culture. Naturally,
okay.
that's what I'm trying to
fair.
say.
That's fair.
Okay, what do you think, Ken?
About
My bad, Ken. We got a little heated there for a second.
that was a lot. I don't know what would you like me to touch on?
Do you think? Hold on, let me go back to the. Hold on.
Fuck
Let
you,
me go.
Christina. You don't know shit.
No, hold on, wait.
Wait, my baby chimed in. She said she did right. Like Ken said, if the person to whom the warrant was issued wasn't home, you can come back. Yeah, absolutely. But that would be police following protocol. And when it comes down to
I can't see.
this, they don't give a fuck about that. So
She
you have
right
to be the right
I
complexion
think
for the
sometimes
protection.
the difference is, and it can be sometimes a gender thing, right? So like for a lot of male officers who are not black, right? I think sometimes that's where I was going with when it comes to fetishization, right? So they love being able to see what they probably wouldn't otherwise get. You know what I mean? So like they're gonna throw as a black woman to be able to see a black woman naked, you're gonna take the chance, right?
Right.
And in law enforcement sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and
no,
I
I'm
think
not going to argue with that. Like, I actually do agree with that.
and
I
that's why
think,
I'm saying like is the
yeah,
difference
key points on that.
sometimes. Now it's complete disregard when it's for the man but there's a layering when it comes to a black woman. You know what I mean? Just because of the sex, just because of the gender, right? So like, and to go back to it, the difference of a black man being naked, thrown down, and a black woman being naked, thrown down. The black man being naked, thrown down, there's disregard for their rights at all. You know what I mean? But when it comes to a black woman, it's disregard to her rights, and there's a sense of, I want to be able to see that.
Right.
I would challenge that, because what's the one stereotype on black men, Ken?
You said, what's the one stereotype of
What's
black
the
men?
one stereotype on black men that's like been perpetuated throughout society?
What, that we all have big dicks?
Yeah, we all have big black dicks.
That's not true though.
That is a stereotype. That is very true.
Yeah, but a lot
That
of
is a huge
No, I'm saying-
stereotype
No,
when it comes to
I'm
black
saying
men.
that it's not
But
true that every black guy has a big dick.
right.
Oh, that's what you meant. My
Right,
bad.
but
No,
what I'm
yeah, no,
saying
I agree with you 100%. But it's
What
like,
I'm
you know,
saying
but the
is
same.
most law enforcement are straight cisgender males who are not trying to see the black dick.
Right. Right.
Based on what though? We don't know that. What statistic proves that?
I'm
I'm not saying that there's a statistic that proves that. I'm saying that
Well,
there's a difference